Hello everyone, I'm Probably Superman, and welcome back to another part, well no, sorry, not another part of our Empire Total War Denmark campaign, because this, as you can probably guess, is no Danish army. This is the French army, because of the flag, and this is a multiplayer battle. So, I'm playing against the Ottomans, and I think I said I'd upload this a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot, basically. But now I've remembered, so let's get right in. Yeah, I knew that my other player, well, like, I actually know the other player, he's not just a random person, but I was pretty sure that because he was going Ottomans, he'd go pretty artillery heavy, although I knew we'd said that there was no fixed artillery, so I knew no great guns or anything like that. But other than probably quite a lot of artillery, I wasn't sure what he'd have. I knew his artillery would outnumber mine, but I did go for more artillery than usual, and French artillery, this guard artillery, has the best firepower in the game, I think. So hopefully my artillery would, well, at best be able to match him, but otherwise at least be able to last whilst my ground forces destroyed his, because I've gone for, I think Napoleon called it the cannonball tactic, where I'd have quite a short line, I think 2, maybe 3 regiments of infantry vieux. I don't know, make that 4. No, 3. 3 regiments of infantry vieux in a line, so on the surface quite easy to deal with, because obviously there's 3 regiments of them, you can overwhelm them. But then in reserve I had some, well, these guys like Royal Scots. I won't try and pronounce them. I've never really done French as a thing, so I'm not gonna murder these names. And so I'd have my Royal Scots, my Grenadiers, and my Lancers all then punching through at one point, trying to get a rout, and then rolling up their flank. That was basically my plan. And I also had some light infantry who could hopefully deal with any cavalry by planting down some stakes. And also, I don't know, element of surprise, whatever. So, it's always good to have some lights. I'm not sure whether he would probably have lights, because the Ottomans do get their new model army riflemen. It's always a bit of a risky battle plan, but it is always quite fun, because it involves a large amount of your army as reserves. So it's a question of, are these guys level 2 veterancy infantry vieux, are they man enough to take on probably a lot of Ottoman line infantry? Because I really like upgrading the veterancy on my troops. I think that's just a good thing to do. I find it works quite well. I like the idea of, in an Empire Total War sense with hundreds of men, I like the idea of slightly less who are really good than slightly more who are rubbish, because at the end of the day it's slightly easier to manage. But having said that, I still do prefer loads of men to small scale games like, example, I don't know, Warcraft 3, where you don't train regiments of 100 or something at a time. So those games are fine, like Warcraft 3, the Command and Conquer games, apart from the really recent ones where it's even small squad based, but that's the same, to be honest. I prefer games like this. Oh, we've started. Oh, shut up and have a look at the Ottoman army. So let's see what he's got. As I expected, he has an awful lot of artillery, but he's mixed it up between are those howitzers? No, I thought I saw some howitzers. Maybe I'm wrong. Those are howitzers. So he's mixed it up between 24-pound foot artillery and howitzers, but he definitely outnumbers me. He has some of his Nizami Sedit infantry, who are line infantry, over there. And he's got Janissary Musketeers, I don't know what their stats are compared to regular line infantry or my elite line infantry, but they seem to be making up the mainstay of his line. And on both flanks he has 2 regiments of Sipahis who are absolutely deadly if you let them charge. Absolutely deadly. Don't know whether they're better than my French Lancers, but they will certainly give them a good going through if it comes down to it, and I think theirs do outnumber mine. And mine are not veterans. Does he have 2 on each side? I'll just check that. Yes, he does. Now there's a bit of a face-off here, because I wanted to just wait a little while to make sure that he wasn't just going to come straight at me, because if he was, then obviously I was going to sit tight, and doubtless he was thinking the same about me. I'll just wait a little while, because if he's going to come to me, it would be bad if I'm in the process of moving as well. It would be chaos. So wait a little while, and after this little while, I decide it's time to do something. But so does he, actually pretty much at the same time. And although our actions are pretty minor, it's not a general advance. Sorry. It marks the start of serious action. So around here, I've deployed stakes, maybe? I do at one point. I deploy stakes at one point, but I'm not sure whether that's now. Because the thing is, because I've got 2 regiments here, I have them deploy stakes about here, and then move away, I think. Oh no, I've deployed my stakes there. Okay, that's very sly of me, because I'm covering these guys' flank. It could have been a little better with the placement, but what I was hoping at the time, is that if he pulls his cavalry forward, he might not see these spikes. So here we go. Here's me beginning to do what I feel needs to be done, and that is move my artillery into a position where they can shoot at these Sipahis, but the Ottoman artillery won't be in range. That's my plan. But I'm only moving 1 regiment because obviously I need to be ready for if there's a general advance by the Ottomans, I need to have some artillery that I can bring to bear. And around this point, he also does his thing. By his thing, I mean his minor is cautious. It's not really minor, to be honest. It's pretty major. His sort of cautious first attacking move, because I know, especially in my earlier days, it was very easy for me to just sit and literally bore the opponent out. But that's not fun for you to watch. I don't like it either. I'm not sure whether I pull this guy back or not, because I think they're advancing. Yeah, I think I do. I think I pull him back, but I move him a little bit later. These lines are horrible. How did this happen? Sort it out. Okay, so that was a bit of a false alarm. And if I remember correctly, there was much banter on the chat box thing. And it was greatly enjoyable. So his army, main strength, a lot of artillery. Ah yes, he's somehow destroyed one of his own guns. I'm not sure how that happened. I remember seeing it at the time, and naturally posting the very smug comment in the chat box, but I can't remember how it happened now, and I'm pretty sure it's through no fault of his own. So his main strengths, he has a lot of men, basically. He has more men than I do, just in terms of manpower. Oh, here we go, here's his thing. He's moving his cavalry forward. Moving his cavalry forward, and I immediately... I who have just been moving my cannons forward, I think. Yeah, you can see they're a little bit ahead. When I see them, or when I remember to put my cannons back, I'll be like, oh my god! So instantly I readjust by putting my Royal Scots about this line. So basically in a position to hold them off. It's also happening on the other flank, but to be honest, I mean, I can pop my infantry Vieux into a square, and as long as my tirailleurs are safe, I should be okay. I'm still kind of hoping that this line of stakes can play a part, because it's been a little while since I put it down, so with any luck he will have forgotten or not even noticed in the first place. Now I think his whole line might be moving forward. No, he kept cautious, which is... I'm not sure, because at this point it just seems like a bit of a... like, from this viewpoint of after the game, it seems like a bit of a bad move, because he sent 4 regiments of cavalry against my entire army. So I'm not exactly sure what he was trying to achieve, but it certainly kick-started the match, and for that I'm thankful. Otherwise, well, my little artillery plan would have been much more lengthy. So I moved my lancers over, and I popped my Scots into a square, and in this square they will be basically impenetrable. Early cannon fire kills 2. Right there. They're the first 2 casualties. He waits at this point, I'm not sure what for. Presumably he's going to form up now. He's in a very wide and very thin line, so not optimal for charging. But I'm not sure what he's waiting for. Maybe for those guys to come in first. It's hard because I kind of need to see what's going on both sides, because I haven't seen this video in a while. So yeah, I popped my infantry veer into a square, and these guys lose a lot to shrapnel. They lost a lot over there as well. So they take some really horrendous casualties. They lose over 10 men. Still no movement from those guys. These guys are, however, coming in. I deploy my stakes in really an awful position, to be honest. My angle should have been much more there. But oh well, some stakes are better than none, and they do quite effectively guard my infantry veer's flanks. He is obviously going for the juicy prize that is my light infantry, my tirailleurs, and potentially my cannons. I kill another lot of him. He's now lost over 20 of his number. I don't rout them yet, at least. Well, I'm not sure if I do eventually. At this point he's kind of further divided his forces by sending 2 regiments in. Now I'm not sure whether it was at this point or not. Now apparently, well, he basically had to go very briefly for, I don't know, about 1 minute, and even then it wasn't really go, it was like talk to someone. But the thing is, he said he told me, but I was looking at the chat window and I didn't see anything, so I'm not sure whether I didn't see it. Well, no, what I saw is he paused the game and he was like, come on, pause the game, and I was like, why should I pause the game? I thought that was just to just for his advantage, but if I'd known his reasoning, I would have stopped the game, but I didn't hear why he wanted to stop the game. So at this point he's decided to move all the troops forward, and we can see he's also got some riflemen that were hidden. So at this point I guess he's realised he needs to commit his reserves, basically. Well, not his reserves, his main army. His troops on this side did engage my tirailleurs and did do significant damage. My tirailleurs lose over half their number, but my infantry veer then cut into his Sipahis, who are very bad in well, not very bad, fairly bad in actual melee. But, well, they're not meant for it. They're meant for charging, and when they can't charge, they're in a bit of trouble. His Sipahis then charge my royal Scots square, and though the square kind of looks like it's broken, oh, it's not. And there goes the leader of the regiment. So his cavalry take horrendous casualties, and then I commit my lancers, and I really do significant damage. And then because his troops are advancing quite piecemeal, obviously with his cannons very far back, right at the back because they're so slow, and I think he's running everyone up. Sorry, yeah, he's running everyone up, and this means they arrive in quite a piecemeal formation, whereas I think if he'd been, I don't know, a little more cautious, you can see his rifles there, getting charged by my lancers. If he'd been a little more cautious, I think, and moved his troops up as an entire formation, you know, at the same time, I reckon he might have stood a very strong chance of still breaking it, because my lancers aren't that great on the defensive, obviously, but here, when they can just pick off individual units arriving piecemeal, their charge is absolutely devastating. You can see that I've destroyed, they're shattered, 2 regiments of rifles, and he doesn't have a lot of rifles with him, so I've crippled his light infantry capability, and I'm further crippling it with cannon fire and all that. That regiment's still intact, but you can see his line infantry is only back here, so it really does allow me to destroy his lights and then focus and reorganize after his cavalry in order to destroy his main troops. You see a blistering cannon barrage kills so many men. Shrapnel shot is a very, very dangerous weapon, and you can just see the little pockets of their guys there. It's, you know, it's a horrific advance in terms of casualties suffered, because my cannons, the best cannons in the game, with the best firepower, the best 24-pounder artillery out there, simply have all the time in the world to pick them off. He popped a shot off at my light infantry with his rifles who have arrived. He also plants stakes down, obviously noticing the last time my lancers had some fun with his light infantry, and again shrapnel shots absolutely rips into those guys, and that's his best line infantry, already lost almost 40 men, and they haven't even come into my musket line yet, and when they do, things will get bloody. Now I'm moving out my lancers here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I've noticed that there's a massive gap round here between his troops and his artillery, and I know that if he can bring his artillery to bear, it will be immensely difficult to deal with, because his artillery, whilst not technically as good as mine, he has a lot more than I do, and so he could easily give me massive casualties. And you can see, look at that, they barely come into my musket line, and it's just shrapnel shot that's butchered them. It must have been quite horrible to watch, really, just seeing the troops move forward, and really, yeah, to be honest, I would not have liked to see it if those were my troops, but it's at this point it's kind of decided, and you can see there my lancers just fall on his cannons, who can't really defend themselves. His general dies over there. I put my general in my artillery, he put his general in his artillery. We both knew that General's Bodyguard is just a waste of a unit card and a waste of some money. Although, in most games, to be honest, I do quite like to have it. You can see my infantry viewer here, 2 regiments versus 4 regiments of Ottomans. Although depleted by cannon fire, I think that's still quite impressive. I've switched to canister shot here, I think. Yeah, I've switched to canister shot, just assisting in the picking off of his rifles. Swirling melee here, just drawing in his last few troops and then cutting off their escape route and firing in. My cavalry have finished absolutely decimating his artillery. You can just see all the cannons there on the field. And his rifles are his last remaining unit, and they go. I think that's it. Yeah, so although the end of the battle was decisive, I mean, as you can see here, he lost almost 4 times my number. In the opening stages, well, I personally thought I was in for a... One moment. Sorry about that. If you still get that pause in the actual video on YouTube, then I'm an idiot, because I was away for a little while there. Just had to open the door. So, although the outcome was pretty clear in the end, in the early stages I thought I was in for a fight. I thought his artillery would beat mine in a straight, fire to fire battle. His cavalry would beat mine, because he has 4 to my 3. His line infantry might beat mine. His lights probably wouldn't, but I didn't know about them at the beginning. So basically it was a question of, can my quality beat his quantity for the line infantry and the artillery, and can my square formations and my bayonets deal with his cavalry, and likewise then can my cavalry rip through his infantry, and can my artillery rip through his infantry before his cavalry ripped through mine and his artillery ripped through mine. And in the end, the only thing he did wrong was he didn't commit his forces in enough strength and enough concentration. He sent them in piecemeal, and that meant I defeated them piecemeal. Because if you look at what I beat, what units I defeat, it's cavalry because he sends them in first, then it's the rifles because they get in first, then it's the line infantry, and then it's the artillery. As in basically in the order that they came to me. And I think even after he lost his cavalry, if he'd arrived as a more coherent formation, I would have stood less of a chance. But it was fun, and it was an excellent battle, and it was quite nerve-wracking at the beginning. So, hats off to my opponent here. Good game to him. Oh, look at that. Canister shot. I never realised you could turn around. This is cool. But, yeah, thanks to my opponent, and thanks to you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.